Henry Cavill wants money and Ben Affleck wants to be sober.
Welcome everyone to Box of Scraps 2, the Squeakquel. We're here once again with Mr. O.
Yeah, hello.
Aaron, who is here.
How are you now?
He's always been here.
He's always been here.
And Cormac, that's me.
It is.
Topics today, well there's two topics.
Okay.
Kind of. Split into smaller topics. The first one is going to be different mediums, credibility. Different media, so we're going to list our top, our opinions of the top 5 best in each different media, our top 5 personal favourites in top 5 media. So for me, Cormac, it's going to be gaming. For Aaron, it's going to be books / novella, if you're into that sort of thing. Nope. And for the Chronic Mr. O, it's going to be comic books, I think. Just comics?
Just comics for me.
Just comics. Okay.
I like the pictures.
You like... Oof.
Oh, Jesus.
Right, okay.
You're such a cunt.
And then after we do all that, we're going to discuss each and why we like this and that. And then later on, at the end, we're going to discuss in reference to Henry Cavill dropping out of Superman, possibly dropping out, and Ben Affleck possibly dropping out of Batman, who we would recast in their places for both, and it can be serious, comedic. It's all a good time here on the Box of Scraps episode 2. So yeah, that's it. There's no quiz this week.
No quiz.
And this is the first time we've done this.
Yeah.
This episode 2.
Oh yeah, there was definitely not other topics that we did in a recording last night that just went horribly off track. No, that would be terrible.
I wasn't even there.
You weren't...
Well...
I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there at
in the theoretical...
Yes, exactly. At the theoretical situation that never happened, I wasn't there.
Well, there you go. Good thing it didn't happen.
That's a good thing I said I wasn't there as well.
Yeah. No, I was...
I want to be disassociated
there.
from the theoretical event that never took place.
Right, so who's going to start us off with
first?
We'll go...
Right to left.
Right to left?
That's Mr. Chronic O.
Okay, well, I say we do one each and then just keep going like that. Like, I'll do one, you do one, you do one. And then...
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good idea, Mr. O.
Thank you. And that's why I'm the main host. I'm not the main host, by the way. We're using Aaron's microphone, Cormac's laptop. I'm literally just a voice.
He has a note. He has a notebook.
I have a little notepad with some notes in it, so maybe that I can...
No.
Yeah. I'm more the heart of the podcast. A very damaged heart. Okay. Let's just start these lists. Okay, so top 5 favourite comics.
In no particular order?
No particular order.
For any of us, right?
We'd
be here all day if we were
trying
to rank them. Go ahead.
So, my first one is Chrononauts.
Yes.
Which is... I've talked to both of you about it. It's from Image Comics, and it's written by the same guy who wrote Civil War, the first one.
Really?
Yeah. And Kick-Ass, and Kingsman.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. yes. I didn't know he wrote Civil War.
Yeah. And he wrote the Ultimate version of the Avengers, the Ultimates.
Oh.
So he did it was him and the artist on that, Brian Hitch, who did the whole he looks like Sam Jackson for Nick Fury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so Chrononauts, these two guys, they create time travel and they're like, no, we're just going to experiment, this and that and the other. And then one of them arrives before the other, basically. And he's like, you know what? I've wasted my entire life on work. I'm going to get everything I should have gotten. I'm going to do everything I should have done. And he basically creates these, like, kingdoms and stuff for himself throughout history. These little, like, cachets and everything of just riches and, bitches and stuff.
So he's traveling through time?
Yeah, they're both traveling through time, and the other guy eventually catches up, and he's like, this is a terrible idea. And then they kind of wind up getting in trouble because someone else gets their hands on the technology. Mm-hmm. And also the people, the government organization who funded them is chasing after them because they've just irreparably screwed time.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of a lot of kind of chasing. It's like there's all these different pieces chasing each other, and it's just
like
chaotic.
Like a Tom and Jerry sort of scenario.
Yeah, kind of. And it's 4 issues, so it's really fast paced and everything, and it's just a very fun ride, I think.
Okay.
Where does the word chrono come from?
Chronos, I assume.
Because anything that like Chrononauts, Chrono Trigger, the Chronosphere in Alex Through the Looking Glass. That's 2013.
But it's all connected.
But no, like Chrono. I'm curious. I assume it means is it Latin? Probably for like time or something.
Some god or something, isn't it?
Chrono is the god of time, is he?
I don't know.
I think.
I didn't know there was.
I don't know, maybe.
This is how
Who knows?
uneducated we are.
Very good. So Chrononauts,
Chrononauts.
not Psychonauts,
No.
which is better.
Great read. Very fun, very short, very easy to get through.
Okay.
How many Ushins out of 5? I mean, Mr. O's.
It gets 5 O's out of O.
That's very good.
Right.
That's
Aaron?
next.
Okay, so
Literature.
my first favourite book that I'm going to say is 1984, George Orwell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty obvious one. I think it's on most people's top lists of favourite books or whatever. It's basically about a society that's completely ruled by a government which they have to love. Whatever they say goes. If 2 + 2 is 5 to them, then it is to everybody else. And it follows a character, Winston, who he was alive before this new government took over. During the revolution, as they called it, during the book, he was alive, and it's actually said, I think that was around World War II when he was a kid. So like the revolution sort of happened just after the war, and during that time there was a lot of bombings in England and nobody had food. So theoretically they had it worse before the revolution. So that's sort of like what the government played off of. That's like sort of like their biggest strength in a way, the war that happened.
Right.
So that's how they like make people believe, oh, but life is better this way now that you don't have any privacy and you still don't have any food, but like you have this crummy house over your head. Oh, life is better. And the whole idea of this book is that Winston wants to find other people to see, does anybody remember what he's remembering? Does he think he's actually gone insane? Maybe none of it happened. He's been so brainwashed by Big Brother for 30 years that like he's starting to doubt himself. And that's the whole point of the book. And it gets really dark at times. It makes you feel like sort of bad for being a human, not for like the way humans are, like how we think and how we act, but just that we're fleshy beings that die very easily.
Fleshy roller skates.
That's a big part. Like in the end, like the book is split into 3 acts, I guess.
Okay.
And the 3rd act is just so dark. But I'm not going to ruin too much about the story. I know you're reading it right now.
I am reading it.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's definitely I think it's very mixed as well. Reviews, like people enjoy it, but there's some people who think, I wouldn't call it a novel. They treat it as like fictional diary entries.
Okay.
Which I don't at all agree with. I think it's a great novel. It's not very long. It's very easy to get through, but it still makes you think and it sticks with you. I think it stuck with me since I finished it.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, I'm not very far into it, obviously, but I am actually really enjoying it. And I mean, it's just such a great thing that's, entirely fictional and our world isn't crumbling or falling apart at all.
Yeah, that was the scary. That's why I think it became popular, because back when this was published, back in 1948, yeah.
Okay.
It just the idea of this world happening wasn't entirely like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Far-fetched.
Far-fetched, exactly. Like that could have happened. It can't now with like the internet and technology, and it's just too difficult to get rid of all that information and alter it. When everything was just on paper back in the day,
right?
That it was so much easier. But now it cannot happen. But
I think now the only thing you could do maybe to kind of change that is you could try and downplay the credibility of what you find online, but at the same time, yeah, the information is always going to be there.
Yeah, it's just not at all like it will not happen now.
Has there been any adaptations of this?
Oh, there was a movie that the movie what's the name of that actor? Oh my god.
What else has he been in?
Ron Perlman.
And V for Vendetta.
Hugo Weaving.
No,
Natalie Portman.
I think I know what you're talking about.
George Lucas.
Stephen Fry?
No.
Oh, he would have been great for that.
Hugh Jackman.
Why can't I think of his name? I feel awful right now.
Oh, is it the bad guy from V from...
That's Weaving, no?
No.
The old man?
Yeah, the man on the screen, like...
Yeah. Which is funny. For what Big Brother is.
John Hurt,
John Hurt, that's it. Why couldn't I think of his name? I feel awful. But yeah, it stars John Hurt. It was...
His career was hurt after he made it, would you say?
No. But like, the film, I think people who've not read the book think it's like a masterpiece of a movie.
Okay.
But people who have read the book don't agree. I don't agree it's a masterpiece either, mainly because most of the book is Winston's like thoughts and his opinions about everything that's happening. Like, it's inside his head.
And that's hard to convey in a
Yeah,
movie.
it's really difficult to convey. Like, as far as the visuals and sort of showing you what the world is like, yeah, it's very good at that. But a lot of the book is also about Winston, like, conflicted with his own thoughts as well. And you do not see that in the film.
Right.
And they change, like, the film isn't drastically different from the book. There's some bits cut, like a few chapters here and there, and there's minor details about different scenes cut, like enough of them that they're noticeable. And some of them, like, I don't understand why, but they were changed anyway. But yeah, I'd say if you want to enjoy 1984, I'd say read the book first. The film is still good, but I think the book is a lot better.
Right on.
So there's my 2 cents on that one.
Cormac,
I'm next.
you are next.
And I'm going to start with the most eye-rolling one first, which is probably Modern Warfare 3 on here, which I don't think anyone has ever said in the history of time that their favourite game... one of their favourites are. And this did knock Bioshock off the list, so...
Jeez.
You probably shouldn't have said that. That's going to get so much hate.
No, listen. See, I can't really... Aaron went off on a big kind of, beautiful kind of, this is kind of the meaning in society and this is why it's good. I don't really have that for this. Mine's just purely tied to summer 2012.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the memories with this game, because 52 days played,
Right.
20th prestige.
Means nothing to me.
But me and my friend boosted, so I got deranked and banned for 2 days.
Oh.
So, anyway, but, yeah, I mean, the campaign's pretty good. It's a follow-up to Modern Warfare 2 one, and they all die. So...
Yeah.
I don't think there's nothing to say here other than just, I don't know, the entirety of summer 2012 for me was just spent waking up at like 9 a.m, staying in all summer when I was getting given out for not staying in, or should have been going out, and playing till like 6 o'clock in the, like for some reason I had more, so bad, you had more like gaming stamina, if you will, back then. Like you could play the same game for like 16 hours a day, go to sleep, and I just have such an appetite for it the next day. Right. Get back up and play it over again. And,
I think as well, Modern Warfare 3 has one of the most still active Call of Duty multiplayer modes, doesn't it? Like, there's still a lot of people that play that.
Not as much as... Modern Warfare 2 has probably got a lot more players now, because now it's backwards compatible on Xbox One.
Alright.
So now maybe there's been a big increase on the Xbox.
For some reason it doesn't seem hackers seem to take over COD after about 2 weeks after the new one comes out. It seems like Modern Warfare 3 never got hit with that.
I did actually wind up in a modded game a while back. I was at my friend's house playing it there, and we had like exploding bullets, and we could kind of not fly, but we could like float.
You need that to win. That's typical.
Oh no,
second name.
I kept getting killed like every 5 seconds. But
for me, it wasn't Modern Warfare 3 that me and my friends like put the most hours into. It was Black Ops 1, because it was just the entire summer of, what year was that? That was 2011, I guess. Yeah, the summer of 2011. We'd go, like, we'd hang out in the town and hang out during the day, but at night, I'd say about 6 o'clock, we'd get on the Xbox 360. Was Minecraft out on the 360 then? Yeah. I remember we used to play Minecraft.
May 9, 2011, Minecraft came out.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, that was it. We stuck on Minecraft for about an hour or so, and then we stayed up till like 3 a.m. just playing Black Ops 1 every night. And
so that's what this pick is. The other 4 are actually games you can actually describe what's good about them, but this is just it's reminiscent of a different time. It's nostalgic about a time when you didn't have any responsibilities and shit, and you could just stay up and eat Doritos and play as much as you wanted and not get in trouble.
And it was a point in time as well where Call of Duty was a very bankable franchise.
Yeah, everyone wanted COD. No, Fortnite back then.
I just don't know anybody who puts like, my favourite Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 3.
No one does. And I think there is better games. Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2
Matt,
are better.
Matt actually really enjoys Modern Warfare 3. He might agree with you, actually.
Well, I don't think it's the best Call of Duty. It's just the one I have the most fond memories of.
It's an ugly looking game with
ugly.
Some boring
It's very
maps.
grey and pooey.
Yeah, and then Ghosts just got even more grey and pooey, but with like
dogs
with better anti-aliasing.
Yes. So I don't have any, message against humanity on this one.
AI fish.
It's just, I was young, I didn't have any cares in the world, and now I do, and I'm sad, and I want to go back to that time. Please.
Me too.
And on that note,
Oshin's second Or
Right.
Mr. Homosexual.
It doesn't matter. Okay. I had to bring him up. There was no way we were getting through this without me bringing up the man who I'm most likely to go gay for ever.
Who?
Grant Morrison.
Of course. 'Cause
Single greatest mind in comic books. Don't at me.
okay.
Alan Moore is great, but he mopes around in a cave and he's like, "Oh, comics are rubbish because I sold the rights to my property, and now I'm sad that they made it into a movie."
Did he make anything in the cave with a box of scraps?
He didn't.
So what's the point in talking about? You're right. Grant
Oh,
Morrison
he
is there,
he probably wrote everything from a cave
Right,
somewhere.
okay.
But anyway, Grant Morrison, the man is crazy. The man has done a lot of drugs, but by golly, the man can write a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Some less good than others, like Final Crisis. But this one in particular, which is kind of I think it was one of his first ones for DC, really. One of his first big ones. I think he did Arkham Asylum and then he went on to this, which is Doom Patrol.
Yes.
And he took over from apparently what was a really kind of maligned run on Doom Patrol. Because it was so run-of-the-mill and so 80s and like, everything's got to be edgy and dark and stupid. And it was just so by the numbers that apparently it was garbage. And so they desperately got him on there to try and fix it. And he really did. He was like, okay, these are weird superheroes. They've always been like the outcasts and stuff. Let's pump that up. Let's pump up the weirdness. So, like, his first story, he's starting kind of a new Doom Patrol. He asked the writer before him to kill off some of the characters he didn't want to use.
Yeah.
They did. And so he's using... The only kind of remnants from the original Doom Patrol is Larry Traynor, who has like a negative spirit inside him.
Okay.
But in this run, he gets merged with a woman as well. So there's like 3 voices in there, all kind of in this weird being.
Yeah.
Robot Man, who's kind of like the Doom Patrol mainstay from the very beginning.
Is he the I've seen a character. He has like a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Are they good guys or bad guys?
They're good guys, but they're weird good guys, and they fight.
Anti-Suicide Squad, are they?
They fight villains that like the Justice League wouldn't know what to do with, like characters like Mr. Nobody,
The Trickster.
No, Mr. Nobody, who's like he's like this abstract being who believes in like Dada, which is like this weird like nonsensical dimension and stuff like that. Basically, he was like, what if comics were on drugs? Doom Patrol is a perfect example of like injecting philosophy and mythology and everything into superhero comics, and it's just some of the greatest visuals and some of the greatest like just some of the most out there stories you'll ever read, basically. You can collect them all, and I have been collecting them in like 3 big volumes, like 3 oversized volumes. They're not that expensive either, and it's just a really quick fun run. So yeah.
When I first heard the name Doom Patrol, I thought it was a spin-off Doom game. I'm not gonna lie. I heard it out of context. I had no idea what it was.
Right.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
And I never heard about it until this year, I think.
And now Brendan Fraser's getting
Oh yeah.
that sweet moolah.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's going to be voicing Robot Man, and I
Really?
think he's playing him in flashbacks, but he's not going to be in the suit.
Right. What
I
if he
can't
takes off the
imagine.
mask?
Huh?
If he takes off the mask, surely they'll have to get Fraser there.
It's not a mask. He's just a brain inside a robot body.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He's in a horrifying... We went through this in the last episode during my trivia.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, he was in a car accident, but
Yeah.
I didn't know he was in a brain in a jar.
That's all he is.
He's
Is just a brain.
future-ramified.
Yeah. Okay. Aaron?
Okay, my second favourite novel is The Picture of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde.
Okay.
Another classic one, which is, I think, at the very core is a story of the fear of morality.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the premise is there's a character, his name is Dorian Gray. I don't think they ever specified his age. I'm thinking they said he was 17, so a young man back in the day. And he's had well, people were considered like an adult basically at that point.
No, I don't know. I don't know. He said back in the day. I was just like, I laughed. I don't know.
Anyway, so he has this picture painted of himself, a portrait, obviously, and he starts to realize he's going to age and get old and not stay as beautiful and handsome as he is now, and he just wishes he could swap these traits with the portrait, where the portrait would age and he would always stay young. And that's the basic premise of it, and throughout the book he does age, staying as young looking as he was at the beginning. Everyone finds it a little strange, but no one ever really questions it either, and he just does whatever he wants. Any sin, any desire he wants to live out, that's the whole point of this book, that he does that. And
so he gets his wish. He does get.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
That is not really explained. He basically, it just happens. He wishes it, and then he has a terrible night, has an argument with someone that he thought he loved, and when he gets home, he realizes there's a wrinkle on the portrait that wasn't there before, and that's when he starts to think something's going on. That maybe his wish did come through.
So is there that rule in the original book where like he can't look at the portrait or something? Or?
It's not a rule that he can't look at it. He just doesn't like to look at it.
Oh, okay.
Because it's ugly.
Some people have treated it like if he looks at the painting, it'll reverse and he'll...
No, that is not at all a rule in the book.
Okay, that might be from like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or something. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
You could hear the disappointment.
Yeah. Listen, I'm even
air
disappointed.
gets sucked out of the room.
But Dorian Gray got his own movie as well, and that was not good.
No, they've never. I think there's been a couple of adaptations. There was one during the 1950s. They made a movie of sorts, and I think there was another one, which was not. It's not too old.
Right.
I don't know if I've ever seen it, and I mean, I don't know how those movies went. I know they're like bad. I've only heard bad things about them, so I've never been like compelled to go watch them. But like, I don't know. I think it'd be a difficult thing to adapt, just because there's a chapter that's very ambiguous about the kind of like desires and sins and things he's done. There's a whole chapter. It's not very clear. It's more suggestive, and you're supposed to make up your mind. There's a chapter where, after he's realized what's happening between him and the portrait, that he's not going to age, he talks about all the other portraits that are in his house of all the other family members he's had, and they all performed one sin or another. One of them like ran a bunch of the most popular orgies, and it just talks about these sort of things, and I guess it leading you to believe he did all these things without saying directly that he did, which I believe he did. Like, he did do all these things, and other things are hinted at as well, and that he's become a very bitter person over the years.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Cormac?
Anything to add to that?
No. I thought I when you said Dorian Gray, I thought of 50 Shades of Grey. That was kind of so. That's what I thought.
Oh, don't put those two books together.
Oof.
Oh, like a crossover.
Mr. Dorian Gray will see you now.
He just invites the painting into his basement. Sex dungeon.
I just saw the basement tied up by like leather straps. I don't.
The basement.
Wait, no, the portrait.
Were you tying up the basement? The sentient
Forget I said anything. Cormac, what's your next one?
I don't know if any of you played this, but my next one is Red Faction Guerrilla.
Is that's the game set on Mars, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I've played that one.
Now, there's original Red Faction, but this is Ocean's.
I played that one too, actually.
I remember the first one, but I've never heard of this.
But nobody remembers this game.
Okay.
I do.
But I enjoyed it.
I did not.
It's an open world game. It's set on Mars. Your name is Alec Mason. Not Alex, not to be confused with Alex Mason from Black Ops. The numbers Mason.
Those names are very similar now.
Alec Mason. Basically, the plot is that you leave Earth to kind of get a job on Mars,
right?
Just because Earth is fucked.
Oh no,
it is.
And but there's like the Settlement Defense Front, the SDF, have taken over Mars, and they're trying to colonize, I guess. They're making like a dictatorship, but he's like, we can't have this. So
we'll have none of that.
None of that. So the cool thing, the gimmick, I guess, that Red Faction Guerrilla has is it's open world, but everything's destructible. So all the buildings,
oh wow,
all the buildings in it can be destroyed.
That's really cool.
And they can be rebuilt. So like you have a hammer, sledgehammer, so you can just go around smashing up buildings. Then you can like shoot like a plasma thing, and that like rebuild that section of the building.
Oh, like Superman's reconstruct the wall of China vision.
Yeah, just not
Superman
terrible.
3.
It's not terrible. But I don't know. I just enjoy it because I've never had. I've seen. I mean, Crackdown 3 is trying to do it. Have an open world game where but you can actually just destroy all the buildings and stuff. And the weapons are cool because they give you melty guns that melt the buildings. The vehicles are cool because they give you guns that melt the buildings. I just
You just want to melt some buildings.
and there's a cool faction in it. They're marauders who have these really cool like wheel tanks that melt the buildings.
Why is it melting? Why is
It melts because it's like nanotech, so it just like melts it.
Right.
But
So it's
even
like
that-
termites.
Yeah, but you go in with a sledgehammer and you can just like destroy the foundations and like the building will crumble.
What if you're in it?
You might die. It depends on if it falls on you or not.
okay.
Like. But like you have a health. And it's on Mars. So I don't know. It's like it's a mixture of genres. Like we'll put an open world game on Mars, but with destructible
The
environments.
first person?
No.
Third person.
Third person. That's even better.
And there's like the best thing. There's like bridges. So like picture like a Golden Gate Bridge, but on Mars. So it's over a massive chasm, if you will. Like,
Ah, yes.
but you can have a jetpack. And you can go up and throw C4 on the bridge. Everything's destructible, and all the civilians are going across it. And then you can like blow it up, but then like the chunks are falling with the cars on it, and then you could like shoot the bridge with the like rebuild technology, so that like bring the chunk that the cars on back up, and like, the cars will go flying. It's a unique,
Yeah.
and nobody plays it, and they won't make a sequel. They did make a sequel called Red Faction Armageddon, which was terrible.
Was
So-
that first person, by the way? Or was that
No,
third?
it was third person, but it wasn't open world. It was linear, so it was just like Dead Space, but it was terrible. Don't buy it. Red Faction Guerrilla 2, make it happen. That's my second pick now.
And what console is that on?
360.
360 PS3. It's so cheap. You could probably get it for €3.
I think I'm going to
You
look
should
for that,
pick
actually.
it up.
That
It's
sounds
really
great.
fun.
Okay.
Go for it.
Right. So my next one is probably Aaron, you've known me for several years, and I've always been praising this comic.
Go on.
Superior Foes of Spider-Man. Picture, if you will, if the lousiest supervillains, they're like terrible at their job, bottom of the barrel supervillains, trying to be the new Sinister Six, except there's only 5 of them because their 6th member got instantly taken out by Spider-Man, who is Doc Ock in Spider-Man's body at that point in time.
Oh, so this was the that was during the Superior Spider-Man.
It was. So they had a Sinister Six, and then one of the characters, the Living Brain, he just got instantly taken out by Spider-Man. So there's only 5 of them, but they keep the name.
Wait, what was their name?
The Sinister Six.
Oh, they keep... Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the roster? Name the 5.
Okay, it's Boomerang, who's...
Is that not a DC villain?
No, that's Captain Boomerang.
Okay.
They're both great characters. I personally prefer Spider-Man's Boomerang because of this story. He's the leader of the team, and he's just such a son of a bitch because he just keeps betraying them
Oh, yes,
the
him.
whole way through, and he's lying to absolutely everyone about everything, and it all comes back to bite him time and time again. Probably the most well-known of the team would be Shocker,
Yes.
Right.
who is kind of treated as a real joke in this.
When Shocker's the most well known in the team, like, you know,
Yeah.
Shocker's the hate.
and that's the best part, is because they're so like unknown, you know. You can really go anywhere you want with them. And Shocker basically is treated like a joke, and he's kind of the coward of the team. He gets buried alive at one point by Boomerang, and then he gets like put in the boot of a car and like driven into a river by Boomerang, who then pretends to be happy that he's still alive when he comes back. It's great. We have a female version of Beetle.
Oh,
who
yes.
you might remember from Ultimate Spider-Man, the video game. Beetle was in that.
No,
Yeah,
never played it.
it's been too long.
Okay, well, she has a flying suit,
She's
Yeah.
Wasp.
kind of.
Right.
And she's the daughter of like a crime lord, like a famous Spider-Man crime lord, Tombstone.
Okay.
There is, I'm trying to think who else there is. There's Overdrive, who
No idea.
yeah, his power is basically he can turn vehicles into super vehicles by touching them. Yeah, it's really dumb, but that's
What does he do in the fight?
What's super about the vehicles?
they're just like they have like all sorts of like thrusters and stuff, and they can go super fast.
Just hot rod flames on them.
Basically.
That's it.
Basically. And then lastly is Speed Demon, who's just like,
I've heard that.
yeah, he's like an evil kind of speedster, but he's not very fast, and he's really dumb. He steals a dog from a little girl because she calls him stupid. So he steals her puppy, and then he feels bad, and then he keeps the puppy until he realizes it has fleas, and then he just gives it back because he doesn't want fleas. So yeah, it's a limited run. There's 3 volumes, like fairly thin volumes as well. good laugh. It's Nick Spencer, who also wrote the story where Captain America is a Nazi, and everybody loves that story.
Do they, or is that sarcasm?
Some people actually do love it. I think it's a bit salty, because it's basically him airing all his frustrations with modern day America.
Wasn't Batman a Nazi?
No.
I've seen a picture of Batman with a swastika as...
That could be from like Earth X or something.
Okay, that sounds...
Yeah. I don't know.
I know.
But anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know.
Captain America's a Nazi, wouldn't
Yeah.
he? Like Captain Germania.
Well, it turns out like he was always an agent of Hydra, this and that and the other, but it turns out it's all the Red Skull's plan, and he used a cosmic cube to remake reality a bit or whatever.
Okay.
But again, Nick Spencer, he's very upset with the political state of America now, and you know, I don't believe in bringing all that stuff into comics necessarily to that extent. Obviously there'll always be politics in comics, the very creation of Captain America being a good example, but I think in that particular instance it's too hot a topic, and I think it's too hot at the moment to put something like that into comics. But anyway, he wrote this way before that, like a few years before that anyway, and it's more of a comedy, so it's hilarious. Deals with villains you would probably never see in anything else, so just a fun time. Okay. A lot of these are just a fun time.
Yeah, well, they should be.
It's like wasn't a night out.
Yeah,
just a fun time.
Exactly. By night out, you mean us sitting here at 1 a.m. screaming at these homemade nachos that have been haunting us for 2 days.
Okay, my third novel, it's actually a well-known one, which is It by Stephen King.
Never heard of it.
And
can you spell it?
Oh God, I don't know.
K.
The L is silent.
The silent 7.
So it's probably the biggest book I've ever read. Nearly 1,200 pages.
It is that big?
Yeah, that's how big it is. And it was funny because...
That's how big it is.
Stephen King, he first wanted to set out, like, one of the things he set out was to make it big. He was just like, I want this to be a big book. So he made a big book.
I'm going to get paid for this.
He gets paid by the word, yeah.
He got paid like a lot. I don't know if the book actually was very successful when it first came out. This came out during the 80s.
Right.
But I don't know. And well, I'm going to talk about some things about the book now, and I'm not going to... Well, I'm going to try to stay away from referring to the 1990 miniseries of It.
That's the best one. Remember that shower scene?
That scene is actually like not bad.
Turns me on. No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad. The rest of it is.
Right.
I'll talk more about like the movie from last year, from 2017.
Okay. Because
that is a lot more accurate to the book.
Aside from the lack of like.
Well, yeah, there's a particular part of that book that
I'm glad it wasn't in the movie. Let's just say that.
Why would they put that in the movie?
I don't think they could legally do that.
There's even like diehard fans of that book that don't stick up for that scene.
You can't.
Yeah, Stephen King, like his whole idea behind that scene was that like the kids had just like, you know, they fought it and I guess
transcended their childhood or something like that.
into adulthood.
Yeah.
And that's why that happened.
If you want to know what the scene is, you'll have to look it up. I don't fancy talking about
I would say that like when you know, like when you've read the entire book up to that point, that scene sort of suits Beverly's character as a kid if you know what's going on with her.
Right.
Throughout the book as a kid, so you can understand her sort of doing that. But for the rest of the characters, it just is so out of place. But anyway, so
no idea.
We'll tell you after.
Okay. The 2017 movie, well, even the miniseries, they both basically followed the plot of the book, sort of. And I find this kind of weird because it's strange how the new movie is actually more similar to the book than the short story is, because the book, that section of the book, that first half is set in the 1950s, which is the same with the miniseries. It's set in the 1950s, but the movie that released last year, that's set in the 1980s.
I guess so that the new one can be set in modern day.
Yeah, when the chapter 2, when they're adults, will be in the modern day. Yeah, exactly. But it's more with Pennywise. He is like sort of an asshole in the book as well, I guess. Like as far as Tim Curry's performance goes, he would taunt the kids and stuff, which does happen a bit in the books.
Yeah.
But Tim Curry made him more comical than anything, or at least tried to.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, with Bill Skarsgård, he was very, like, unnerving. Like, especially with the scene with oh dear.
Which one? Which
the sewer scene, the drain.
Oh, okay.
At the very
Where's
beginning. Georgie. Why did I forget his name?
Ah, yeah, Georgie.
Yeah. Like, I love that scene in the 2017 movie. I do remember the 1990 version, like, creeping me out as a kid.
Right.
But, like, no, I much prefer the 2017 version. And that's actually a bit more similar to the book than
Yeah, he eats his arm off.
Yeah, although in the book he doesn't, like, you could completely, like, you know, pull him into the sewers like in the movie.
Right.
And that's where the movie is kind of different. See, he just bites his arm off in the book and the body is left there.
Okay.
And then adults come out and find just a dead kid there next to the drain missing an arm. And that's where, like I said, the biggest difference, because throughout the movie, the 2017, Bill thinks, you know, Georgie might still be alive and is looking for him, whereas in the book, he's dead. Nobody's questioning it.
Okay.
And then there's a lot more that happens in the book, like a lot more. There's, as you know, Pennywise, or it can turn into anything he wants. Pennywise the clown, or a giant spider, I guess.
Oh.
Which is...
Isn't Pennywise a god and he has to face like a giant turtle?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that? Like,
this is the Macroverse, which is... I'm not going to try to explain that one. It's another universe.
Isn't that how he wound up on Earth, though? He got, like, badly hurt in a fight with the turtle or something like that.
I'm certain that's how it happened. Yeah, and the turtle is also a god. And that's going to be explored, actually, within It Chapter 2, when that's released, which is going to be interesting.
Are they actually?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a whole scene
turtle.
where they do sort of a... What do you call it? Like, it's not a ceremony, it's...
like a ritual.
A ritual, that's
right.
it. They perform a ritual in the book that didn't happen in the miniseries, which will happen in It Chapter 2, which is to, I guess, find out about the Macroverse. And
so the turtle's a good guy.
yeah.
Yeah, he would be like the...
Is it going to be a guy in like a Raphael costume?
But like the Turtles 3, the one where they go back in time,
right.
that one.
Yeah.
I just imagine it was like the turtle. What is it? It's a cartoon. It was a cartoon when I was a kid, and there was a turtle. He went to school. I remember wearing a hat.
Oh, I
He
think I
stood
know
up
what
on his
you're
back
about.
legs. Yeah, they just like meet him.
Yeah.
And he fights Pennywise.
Or it's just like those jacked up like CGI turtles from the Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like... Well, yeah, no, I guess like that's basically it. I can't explain the book too much because I could be sitting here for hours talking about that book.
Right.
But yeah, if you've seen the movies, you've gotten the gist. But the book is like... There's just a whole lot more detail.
Yeah.
And I think the adult section of the book is actually like amazing, whereas the adult section in the miniseries was like a sitcom reunion.
Okay.
Where there was a montage of them with like happy-go-lucky music playing. They're playing on their bikes as adults, and
oh yeah, you showed me that scene.
Yeah, is
that's rough.
Yeah, that is rough.
Meanwhile, they're unaware that the one guy's after killing himself. Like,
oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, they weren't. No.
Did they do that in the miniseries, or
did he kill himself in the miniseries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just off playing on their bikes.
Yeah, I don't remember if up to that point they knew that he had done that yet, but yeah. It's funny that they've cast a guy in It Chapter 2 just for him to off himself.
Right. Who did they cast for him?
I don't know.
Just some unknown kind of, or
George,
like not
No,
not big.
I think he might be kind of known, but
George
like
Lucas.
Isn't Bill Hader playing someone?
Bill Hader. Yeah, he's playing
Is he playing
Richie?
Is he playing Richie? Because I think he would.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's playing Richie.
He would have been better for like the hypochondriac. I forget his name.
I think he's playing Richie. I can't remember. All I remember is that what is his name? Oh, I can't remember actors' names today. Scottish guy, James McAvoy.
Right.
He's playing the adult version of Bill.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
I am interested in the cast. I don't agree with it entirely.
I don't agree with. Is it Jessica Chastain? Is she playing?
Yeah, see,
she seems a lot older than McAvoy.
This
and
version,
stuff.
like this chapter 2, has to be a lot darker than chapter 1, and like that's the only thing. Like my concern was, can she do it? She has to play like a character who is in an abusive relationship, but kind of wants to be in it and is beaten and it's a very dark chapter, and her adulthood in the book is like, well, her whole life in the book is pretty shit. But like, I'm finding it difficult to picture her playing this well. Like maybe she will, and she'll surprise me. But
I bet now it won't be nearly as good as her performance in the Oscar-worthy Dark Phoenix, soon to be released.
Oh yes,
when is that out?
Yes,
it's coming out. Don't you worry.
There's rumors.
Oh, thanks. I was worried.
Yeah, there's rumors it might go to the Disney streaming service.
Do you know Bill Hader voiced BB-8?
And there's a fun
That's
fact.
pointless casting, that is.
Yeah, he did the wow.
Well, there you go.
I'm not bad at it, in fairness.
No, that's actually pretty good. Okay, so good.
Very.
We kind of went away from the book. It was
No, I mean,
because like the book and the movie is like
one and the same.
Yeah, I'd be sitting here for hours explaining the differences. I will say one thing is that there's a chapter dedicated to it, like it's his perspective.
All right.
And like you could see he has a very childish like mind.
Yeah.
Just the way with the like how he speaks his dialogue and everything. It's a very good chapter. It's interesting.
Would you say it's strictly horror, or would you say it's more story driven than horror driven? Because the movie to me felt more story driven.
It's kind of both. I don't think it leans on one side more than the other.
Okay.
Like you definitely get a lot of the story when they're not interacting with it. Like when they're just having their own discussions and theorizing about what happened, and especially at the beginning when you're learning about them as adults as well, because the book does open with them as adults when they're called up and they're told Pennywise is back, and you learn just about like their adult life and them as characters, and like a little bit about their childhood. They think about like just moments. They don't like talk about Pennywise during these moments. They just talk about like random memories. And then when it is in these chapters, it is very horror driven, yes, but like
so it doesn't.
The two elements don't step on each other's toes, basically.
Fair enough. It good.
Very good.
7 pennies out of wise.
There we go. Cormac, what's your next one?
I'm gonna go with the original Battlefront 2.
Ooh.
Star Wars Battlefront 2. Everyone's favourite.
I prefer the first one.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But just in light of the newest Battlefront 2, the 2017 one, which is just the biggest slap in the face I've ever had as a gamer.
And you've had many.
It's such a it's a mess. We were told a lie. We were told everything, and there's been one content drop in over a year. They said there was going to be one every 2 months.
Wait,
and
like DLCs with like different maps and stuff?
Yeah.
There's only been one.
The Last Jedi.
And when did that happen?
December. And the game came out November last year.
It's the EA mantra, really, isn't it?
Well,
it's in the microtransactions.
We'll get into this first, but that's what happened. The game was just riddled with microtransactions, and it was completely boycotted on the internet. The most downvoted Reddit post in history was them trying to say why they...
Right.
Yeah, they were trying to justify
it. And it was the most downvoted Reddit post of all time.
That's good.
So they took out all the microtransactions and had to basically rework the game, which led to so many... Because everything they had planned for the game, they couldn't do because they had to spend 3 months reworking the entire game. So everything got pushed forward. Then they realised, well, EA's plans to monetize this game are not the same anymore, so they can't put as much resources in anymore. So they've taken developers off of this and put them on Battlefield 5. So now, not only has the timeline for what they're going to put out shifted forward, now less people are working on that timeline. So, I mean, Grievous is coming next month, so I guess that's good. We'll have that'll have one new hero in.
Wasn't there something as well? It was like, I don't know if it was a feature or a character or what, where you could either grind for 40 hours or something like that, and
buy it. Darth Vader,
which was
a bit exaggerated.
Was it not Maul?
I thought it was all the characters. Each character was the same amount of time.
It was that was exaggerated, but even still, that was true. You would have to, when you bought the game, like they'd unlock like Luke and Han would be free, but if you wanted to play as like Vader, the Emperor, or Leia for some reason, it was like you can pay up physical money or grind. Like 40 was exaggerated, but 20 hours game time if you want to play as Vader.
So that Battlefront 2 bad,
it's terrible.
But other
campaign is alright in that one. But the other Battlefront 2, which was stacked with features, the campaign was cool. It's overhyped, the campaign, because everyone's like, oh, it was amazing. All it was just multiplayer modes, just with a cutscene at the start. But they got Tamara Morrison back to voice, and it was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. But the Galactic Conquest was awesome, which nobody really praises.
That's all I play when I play
Galactic
that game.
Conquest was amazing. Like you could just play against your friend, and you take over different planets, and you had to manage resources and stuff. Like it was as if you basically, he's playing as the Empire, I'm playing as the Rebellion. Like I had to manage, like, oh, would I spend my resources that I can use a hero unit this game to try to take over his planet, or like would it be best maybe just to save up on like other shit you could spend on? That was cool. But I mean, the main fun was the multiplayer mode, just because it was so stupid.
Right.
It just, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like the current Battlefront 2, it's Disney. They're like, oh, we have to keep it canon and everything fun. Whereas in the old one, like, if I wanted to play as, Yoda on the bad side, like, on Yavin, like, backflipping on top of a spider tank with droidicas coming out of my arms, that's exactly, like, you know what I mean? You just could, the best fun time anyone could have was the Mos Eisley mode, where it was just heroes versus heroes.
Oh, yes.
Right, that was the best fun anyone could have, and, PS2 was a bit limited, but PC had the larger battles mode where you could have like 100 heroes versus 100 heroes,
and also just
villains.
Incredible mods for that game as well.
The PC community of that game did really keep it alive, and the roster. I don't understand how a game that came out 13 years ago, it has like so many heroes and villains, whereas the new Battlefront, it came out with like 7 heroes, 7 villains, and you have to pay money to unlock future ones, and it's just like, you're ruining my Star Wars. Fun story about the original Battlefront 2. I played it a lot on my PS2, and I didn't let my brother get a shot of it. So I came in one day to the sitting room, and he held it out in front of me and snapped the disc. And I never played it since, until like years later I got it on Steam to play it. But yeah.
The servers for that on Steam are back up.
Yeah, they put them back up.
Although I tried to play it and the connection was pretty bad.
You can play as a Wampa and a Rancor. They just let you have fun. It was when games stopped. They weren't simulators. These games are simulators now. They want to make everything as realistic. I mean, I know it's Star Wars, but space battles were good. You could actually get out of the ships.
I had another point about microtransactions, and this was with 2K recently.
Yeah.
So I think you know about this. Basically, what happened was, so they have their popular series NBA 2K, and they have like you can customize your player, and there's this in-game currency that costs money, and basically Belgium have been sort of like going down on companies. That sounded weird. About like microtransactions and loot boxes and how they're considered gambling and whatnot. And basically, if any game developers, publishers try to break these laws, they're going to court and they have to pay a fine. So EA has been somewhat complying, although now they're under criminal investigation by the government because of, I don't remember which game it was, but whatever. And 2K basically we're told you can't have this like these loot systems and whatnot in NBA 2K.
Okay.
And they put up a post saying that they didn't agree that what they were doing was like against the rules that Belgium had set in place. And they said if you agree with us and don't think that like our microtransactions are violations against their laws, contact your local like office in Belgium to like try have our microtransactions put back in your games.
How'd that go?
They were now everyone's saying that they were basically begging their fans like, please, like,
but they were trying to put
don't you want our microtransactions?
They were trying to put a spin on it that they were giving players an option to pay money, and they were like, oh, well, the government are telling you, they're not giving you the option to spend. Like, they were trying to spin it like that. It was like, we know people like to spend money on these, so like, let us give you the option. They were trying to spin it like, we're doing you a favor, like, and it's so transparent.
Yeah.
Battlefront 3, learn from your mistakes. You've had 2 games now. Just make it. How can you
make it more like the originals?
Stop ruining Star Wars.
Yeah, like the movies, the games, it's all just going downhill.
Solo a Star Wars story. It's winning Best Picture
Didn't make its money back. Didn't make its money back.
It didn't?
No, it didn't make
Not
its
even
money.
like international and everything.
No, well, like now it's coming out on Blu-ray like next week, so it's going to do it there. But no,
wow,
like it did not,
theatrical did not make its money back.
It is bombed. And
it has bombed.
I think they were going to do like a few movies of that because he was like signed a contract for his name to be like in
3 movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3
that's why
movies.
you got your
The
mall in
solo.
there. But
Yeah,
I
that's
fucked
where
it
you
up.
got your squishy mall.
Squishy mall. I
Looks
was Battlefront
great.
2. Ben, why'd you break my disc? Go ahead.
Okay, so my next one is also kind of space connected. Not really. It's
on.
Superman Secret Origin.
Never heard of this one.
It's a limited series. It's only like 6 issues or something.
Okay.
And basically, it's a retelling of the origin of Superman by Jeff Johns, who is like... He's kind of the big creator at DC the last like 10 years or so.
Yeah.
He came on, he brought Hal Jordan back from the dead, seemingly. He
Parallax Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
Right.
he explained that was like a whole entity and all that sort of stuff. He's done a lot of great stuff. He's writing Doomsday Clock at the moment, where he's like bringing Watchmen into the DC universe and all.
Right.
And so this Superman Secret Origin, most people who read comics will probably know this already, but some people might not know. He was actually an intern for Dick Donner, who directed the original Superman movies.
Okay.
So he actually collaborated with Dick Donner on Superman comics for a while. He brought Dick Donner on to like help him write it and stuff. And this, actually, I'm not sure if Dick Donner actually was involved in this, but it's merging comics continuity with kind of the Dick Donner universe in a sense. It's bringing all the best parts of those movies into the comics. Even the artist Gary Frank draws him as Chris Reeves, which is just phenomenal.
Okay.
You get to see him when he's young as Superboy, kind of going on adventures and stuff. Obviously, you see him go to Metropolis, and the city is just kind of a crapshoot when he gets there.
Yeah.
And you just see his effect on people and how his goodness kind of makes other people want to be better.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful story, I think.
And it's just like how many origin stories have they given him? Because I know like this is a trend in comics to create multiple origin stories.
Well, of like main universe ones, I'm not gonna really count like times where his origin has been recounted at the start of an issue or something like that.
Yeah.
But just if I had to think of like times where they've expressly said, okay, we need to do his origin, there's the Man of Steel back in the 80s, which was written and drawn by John Byrne.
Okay.
That was good. It was great for the time, but I think now it's aged quite a bit. And that was like the first time you saw Lex Luthor as more of an industrialist and a businessman as opposed to like a crazy mad scientist.
Okay.
So he brought that into that. Then obviously there's Superman Secret Origin. There's another one before that, Birthright, which I haven't read. But I've heard that's very good as well. And then New 52, they did his origin, but
it's New 52.
It's New 52.
You're going to want to get on board. Like, they're not stopping with that New 52 try-ins.
No, they have.
Right.
Basically, Rebirth, the last like couple of years, and even the story bringing in the Watchmen and stuff is kind of them apologizing for New 52. Because they made everyone young and edgy and dark. And like, Superman's Earth parents died in a car crash or something like that when he was a teenager. So he's all like edgy and moody, and
then Lex Luthor gets footage of like Bucky killing his parents.
Yeah,
and
then he fights
Captain America,
Captain Batman. Yep. New 52 Superman is the anti-Superman Secret Origins Superman, basically, because he's edgy and angsty. He has like a weird armored costume with a collar.
Yes.
Yeah. Twitter.
Huh?
Does he have like a Twitter he's kind of giving out about
probably.
politics?
I think he quits the Daily Planet at a certain point and he goes to a different newspaper because he's like, screw you guys, meh. And then
Daily Bugle.
he died.
Oh.
New 52 Superman dies and is replaced by real Superman, who they explain came from like another dimension during a big like crossover thing. Don't worry about it. Anyway, New 52 Superman dies, but then his essence at one point gets merged with the essence of the new Superman.
So the new Superman becomes edgy?
No, it's just to kind of say those stories...
A Tumblr account just pops into existence.
Those stories that happened with him in the New 52 are still in canon. They just happened to a better Superman, basically.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. But yeah, Superman Secret Origin... I think if you want to get into Superman, if you don't really know Superman and stuff, and you want to get into it, that is the perfect place to start because it'll give you the best understanding of who he is as a character. And more so than like obviously saving the world from supervillains, kind of the best thing he does for humanity is making them want to be better themselves. It's just a beautiful story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Go on.
So my fourth book is actually a pretty well-known one, A Clockwork Orange.
Right.
Which I've never seen anyone put that on their favourite books of all time.
Yeah.
My English teacher's favourite book of all time is A Clockwork Orange.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there we go. There's another one.
It's probably a bit hard to read, though, isn't it?
I mean, it's sort of like there's a slang within the Clockwork Orange universe,
yeah.
which most people have only seen the film rather than read the book. So if you've seen the film, you know exactly what that is. It's
I already have the theme stuck in my head.
Yeah, the theme, the music for the movie was great, but yeah, it's not that. So it's a mixture of like there's some German words in there, there's some Russian. I think there might be a bit of French as well, mixed with some just like, I don't know, just Britishy kind of pronunciation. I don't know how to explain that one.
Right.
But I got a digital version of the book at the beginning, like for my first issue of it. So I got like a guide to the Nadsat slang language. But anyway, so for anyone who hasn't read the book, it follows a character named Alex DeLarge and his three friends, or droogs as he calls them, in a dystopian future. Well, it was future when it was written. The book was published, I want to say 1956.
Okay.
And the book is set in the 1990s. So, yeah. So, and it's set in London, a dystopian London, where the government is pretty shit. Like, there's gangs and criminals everywhere, and it's the norm, and everything's just a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Well, to us it seems
Milk
a little
bars.
bit weird. Yeah, milk bars, which is just basically...
This sounds awesome.
It's a bar where you get milk filled with drugs, basically.
Yeah.
It just, I guess in my head the milk was always like a disguise to like the authorities can't be like, oh, that's drugs. I don't know.
And it's filled with naked mannequins.
Well, in the film it is. They never really describe how the bar really looks in the book. You just kind of, it's there.
All right.
So, yeah, and the book, though, is a lot worse, in a sense, than the movie for the kind of activities that happen. There's a lot more crimes. Like, they get in the film, if you've seen it, they go on a little crime spree at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The crime spree ends the same way, you know, like, they go to that person's house and beat him up and rape his wife, but the crime spree is longer in the book, and it's smarter. So first they find this guy walking home from, I guess, college. I think he's a professor,
Mm-hmm.
and he's holding a bunch of books. They knock the books out of his hand, beat him up. Then they go into a shop. They break into it where the couple, they live above the shop. They beat the wife and the husband up, steal the money. Then they leave. Then I think they beat a guy up under the bridge like in the movie, but it's not, the interaction isn't the same. And then they go to a bar where there's these old ladies that love them. So they had an alibi to seem like, oh yeah, they were there the whole night. Those lovely chaps. And then they go and do that whole thing,
Yep.
which is the controversial part of that whole book and movie. And yeah, so it's mostly beat for beat, and the book is like, it's first person, well, narrated by Alex himself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's him talking, it's like his perspective, him telling the story, and you think that you might not be able to trust him because he's the one that did it, and he's the one looking for sympathy, and the weird thing is you do feel sorry for him, even though he explains all the terrible things he's done. And that, I guess the whole point of the book is about, should we take away the freedom of choice, even if it's bad, which is where we lead up to the experiments that they do to Alex, because eventually he does get caught. And he gets arrested, and while he's in prison, he learns about this experiment where they could turn any criminal good, and they'll never spend another day in jail.
Right.
And he's excited about that. So they bring him to the hospital where the experiment takes place, and nothing's ever explained to him about the experiment. He just knows it's an experiment that's going to help him.
Mm.
They bring him his lunch, they give him an injection, they say it's just vitamins, whatever. And then they bring him to a theatre where they put a straitjacket on him. They hold his eyes open and make him watch films of violence, rape, and the injection that they'd given previously is actually to induce nausea. So over
it's
time,
like what's it called, aversion therapy or something like that.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah, I really can't remember the name of the experiment from the book. It was a strange name, but doing this over time would make it that when he really does see these things, he will become nauseous and not want to fight. Not because he has a choice, though, because he feels sick. So it's taking away the choice. It's not teaching him to be good. It's forcing him to. And the whole point of the book is, do you agree with this? Because later on in the book, you see that everyone starts to treat him like shit afterwards because they know they can.
Yeah.
Because he can't do anything about it.
Right. There's some of that in the movie as well, I think.
Yeah, you do see that a little bit. It's more so in the book. Like I said, there's more details in the book for as short as it is, but they go over a lot more. There's certain things happen to other characters. I think there might be a few extra characters in the book as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Right.
And Alex DeLarge is just overall worse in the book. He's just like a loose cannon.
Well, he's younger too, isn't he?
Because in the movie he's 17 or 18, and the book he's 15.
Right. You could have easily, I mean, they already showed enough kind of stuff in the movie where you could say he's 15. Obviously still cast who you cast, but...
Yeah, Malcolm McDowell, which was great. I love Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah, he was very good in that. But yeah, okay.
Do you think they'll remake it?
I hope not.
If they did...
I think they will.
They'd have to remove... They would remove a lot, I think, if they remade it now.
I want Tarantino Clockwork Orange. That's what I want.
If Tarantino did it, I don't think he would ever do that movie. But if he did, I don't think he would cut out anything. He's not really one to stray away.
Studio.
He's big enough. His studio can't really...
Yeah, does he not have his own studio? I could have sworn he did.
Oh, he probably does. Yeah.
Like, have you seen Django Unchained? Have you seen these movies? He does not shy away from these things. His movies can be controversial because of the violence, so...
Fair enough.
But I don't want them to do it. Like, Stanley Kubrick, he did the movie, and he's been notorious for when he's adapting, like, books into movies that he doesn't really follow the source material. And for the most part, he was pretty spot on with the movie. There's just, like, more visual things that he did with the movie and, like, music and stuff that, like, he changed or added because it needed to be there, you know?
Right.
Like, if anyone has seen the movie or screenshots, you see their outfits. They're wearing, like, you know, a white shirt, white slacks, the suspenders and everything. And in the movie, they're all wearing these, like, almost Victorian era, like, outfits. You know, imagine, like, a fool.
Yeah.
Or a jester, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
And they're, like, skin-tight black things with, like, big shoulder pads.
So this is in the book, you mean?
Yeah, and that's what they were.
Right.
Although the eyepieces remain the same. Like, Alex DeLarge still has the lashes, although he says it's like a spider around his eye. That's how he says it. But, like, you get the idea. So, but, like, they were wearing, like, tights and everything in the book. Like, it just wouldn't look as intimidating in the movie.
Not.
So, and... I mean, in the book he does love Beethoven as well, but you can't get a sense of that music within the book really. Whereas it's that kind of music is, you know, throughout the entire movie.
So book or movie for this one?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I'm gonna have to say the movie. I think the movie's just a little bit better, even though there's a lot of stuff taken away from it.
All right, okay, but still good.
Still good, especially the ending, which I'm not going to ruin, but the endings are kind of different.
So the clock works?
Right.
Bruce
Willis is the clock.
Exactly.
Right. I just can't get the idea out of my head of a Quentin Tarantino directed Mickey Mouse Clubhouse special. I don't know why.
I want my damn money! Okay, so,
next.
Cormac Wheatley.
Second to last. A Fallout game.
Right.
Okay.
The best Fallout game. Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, exactly.
It is the best Fallout
game. It is.
Game.
It really is the best one. Fallout 3. Oh, no, sorry, this is your thing.
In Clockwork Orange.
We just swap roles.
No, 3 is good. I just think 3 had a good foundation that New Vegas built upon, and then 4 was kind of like, okay, we're going to take some of that out and we're going to, you know, settlement need your help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But New Vegas, the plot is pretty simple. You're a courier. You're given a chip to deliver to Mr. House. You don't know why, but you get shot. Then you wake up. Doc Mitchell used to fix your face. and you got to go get your chip back. Well, I think you have amnesia. You're not really remembering everything.
Oh, Doc Mitchell, he's great.
Doc Mitchell, he's
I would have chose that name for you, but if it's your name, it's your name.
Yeah. Anyway, so you got to go get the chip back. But there's loads of the best thing about Fallout is not the main quest. That's the best. And New Vegas has the Wild Wasteland perk, which
that is great.
It adds like movie references and Easter eggs to the game. Like you can turn it off if you want, but why would you turn it off? Like, it just adds loads of fun. Like there's loads of references
like
to
the
Indiana Jones in the fridge. You can have sex with a robot called Fisto in that game.
Oh yes, I'm sold.
And he like and there's different factions. But just the main plot, New Vegas. Well, it's set in Las Vegas. It's fucked, destroyed. But except the Strip in If you know Las Vegas, Nevada, like the Strip, it's the main. That's kind of only kept for like the richest of riches. And I'm not gonna tell you, but you get there eventually through nefarious means to get your poker chip back. And then you figure out why you were ever sent to deliver this poker chip. It's because Mr. House, who built Las Vegas 200 years, or who built New Vegas, 200 years ago. He uploaded his consciousness into a machine so that he's not going to die, because he's really old. And he needs this poker chip to activate a weapon system so he can, destroy... I don't even know why he wants to destroy all of Vegas. But anyway, it's typical Fallout, because you can choose... you decide on multiple factions. You can give him the chip, give him not the chip. You can keep it yourself, or give it to the different factions so they can control New Vegas. Or you can give it to Yes Man, he's a robot, and you can upload his consciousness into, the grid. There's the funniest part of the game, I think, is there's a faction called Caesar's Legion.
Yeah,
Aaron know this, and they're like Romans, like gladiators and stuff, but their leader is Caesar, like Kaiser they call him, but he has a brain tumor in the game, and so he's like, oh, I'll let you, we'll help you if you can help me fix my brain tumor, and then the quest pops up. It's like find a solution to Caesar's brain tumor. And you can just shoot him in the head, and then the quest completed. You found a solution for Caesar's brain tumor. I've always found that really funny. But yeah, I just like New Vegas. You're getting a sense here. If I like open-ended games, you can just kind of do what you want. I love games where there's a main quest, and it's just okay, go do the main quest. But then you just don't do it, and in game time, 4 years have passed, and you still haven't done the main quest. And
that NPC's still sitting in that bar
because
waiting
in Fallout
for
4,
you.
no spoilers, you have to look for your son.
Okay,
you look for your son. It's urgent, but you can go do all the main quests. And I would say if you so 24 minutes of real time is 24 hours in game. So if you just go around doing all the side quests, complete the game to 99.9% completion, then do the main quest. It's in game 6 years have passed, but your son just takes it up as if it's been 20 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just
right.
That's funny, but. Yeah, Fallout New Vegas. And the DLC for New Vegas is awesome. Have you played the DLC here?
Yeah, I have.
I like the Sierra Madre one. You know, you get in casino and there's all the gas. But obviously the Old World Blues is the best with the weird robots.
Yeah.
And there's this real creepy robot that likes your lips. And you touch... It's like a girl robot, but she doesn't know what sex is. But when you touch her, it's I like your slime. So that's it. That's my 2 cents about New Vegas. Fallout 4 is not as good. Fallout 76 is out this year. Multiplayer in a Fallout game, will it work? Ocean, it's kind of funny how this works. I've just been listening to our list. It's kind of 2 people will have input on a topic, and the other ones are kind of
yeah. Well, see, I'm not. Yeah, I would be very casual with games, and
you should play Fallout. I think you'd like it.
It's first person though, isn't it?
You can switch. You can play it in third person,
which is the worst way to play that game.
It kind of is, but
if you want to be good at combat, your third person is not the way.
You should. I think you should. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah. I think you'd get into characters. I don't think you won't care that it's first person after
it's
you
start. It's clunky as fuck. Anyway, Fallout is. It's it's purpose. It's not purpose. Fallout 4 fixes that, but there's just so many wacky side quests and references and Easter eggs, and I think there's a TARDIS in it somewhere.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh yeah, one of them is a TARDIS, but if you get too close to
it disappears. Goes away. You can't actually go to it.
That's awesome.
There's big mutated things. There's a whole Camp Lamp. Is that? And that's Fallout 3. I'm not getting into that. Anyway, you should play New Vegas. You can kill old men. That's it.
Nice.
Back to Ocean.
Okay. Okay, so my last one here. We started with Chrononauts, which is an image book, and we're ending on Black Hammer, which is a Dark Horse book.
Okay.
Now Black Hammer, it's interesting. It started off as just its own series, but now they've been spinning it out into like a whole universe. So like, they're doing I think they're doing prequel comics about different characters and stuff like that and all that. But I'm just going off the original like first volume of Black Hammer so far because that's all I've actually read. Yeah. So basically, it's this superhero team comprised of like different characters from different genres.
Wait, what?
What's going on?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't know. He just looked at me and laughed with a really sinister look. So I don't know. I don't know what he's laughing at.
That's Aaron.
Okay,
Right.
Go ahead. Black Order.
Black Hammer.
Black Hammer.
Yeah. Basically, this superhero team with like analogs for different superheroes from like DC, basically.
Right.
They fight this character called the Anti-God, and then wind up trapped in this like town, this small town. They're on a farm. They live on a farm, but if they try to leave the town limits, they'll die, and they don't know how they got there, and they don't know how to get out.
Right.
How
do they figure out if they leave the town limits, they'll die?
Well, that's the thing, and that's where the title comes from. When they get there, there's a character with them who's kind of like somewhere between like Thor and just like a really good guy. Like he's kind of one of the best of them, and he tries to leave and he dies, and so that's why it's called Black Hammer. His name is Black Hammer, and that's just there like at the city limits. Kind of, it's just the hammer.
Oh, I see.
Very cool.
Yeah. So the team has some really neat characters on there. There's one who's like a Martian Manhunter kind of character.
Okay.
And he's gay, but no one knows it. But which it's not. It wouldn't really be as important to the plot if it weren't for the fact that there's another character who's kind of like Shazam, but she was a little girl when she got her powers, and she wouldn't turn into an adult when she, activated her powers. But as she grew older, every time she activates her powers, she reverts back to a child. So it's like reverse Shazam, where she becomes a child when she uses her powers.
Not permanently.
No, it's just... But at the point where they fought the Anti-God, she was in her superpowered child form.
No.
And so now she can't turn back for some reason, since they got to the farm.
Okay.
She still has her powers, though. She's just a kid.
Yeah, she's like in her 50s, though. And she's in love with the Martian character. And she thinks the reason he doesn't want to be with her is because she looks like a child. Which, in fairness...
That's a valid point.
That is a valid reason, I would say. I wouldn't do it. Would you? That's terrifying.
Yeah, a lot of kids aren't
That's
attractive.
Wrong.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway, there's some other great characters. My personal favourite is... Alright, I'll give you some moment to recover from that.
No, but a lot of them aren't, like...
What do you mean
What
a lot
do you
of them?
mean a lot of them?
No, a lot can mean all.
All. Let's just go with all.
All. Yeah.
Anyway.
Silent law.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want kids.
There's some other characters in it, but my personal favorite is just like this spacefaring character who discovered a weird dimension that seems to be outside of time, and so he's gone kind of like batshit crazy, and he'll just like pop in and out randomly with kind of mumblings and stuff. But there's an issue in the first volume that explores his origin and stuff like that, and some of the tragedies of his existence, really, like even now. And it's one of my favorite issues of anything. So, yeah.
That's a glowing review.
It really, I mean...
It sounds interesting. That and Superior Spider-Man are the two that I've gathered from this that are
Superior Foes?
Superior. I was going to say Foes, but I was like, is that not a game? Friend or foe? But those two so far are the ones that have intrigued the most of.
Yeah, Black Hammer, and like I said, they're spinning it out into a universe. I know one of the villains called Sherlock Frankenstein. It's kind of everything you need to know there. He's just gotten his own book, and they've done a second volume of Black Hammer. They've done some kind of spin-offs and stuff like that. But this first volume, which is all I have to go off for now, is phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my last one. Aaron?
Okay. Well, my last novel, I haven't actually finished reading it right now, is Ulysses by James Joyce. James Joyce, sorry.
Jamie Joyce.
And a lot of people say it's sort of a retelling of the Odyssey, an ancient Greek story, which, I mean, I guess it is a little bit, but like not entirely. I guess it's more influenced rather than a retelling. It basically follows a character, a main character, Leopold Bloom, who's basically walking around Dublin, thinking, doing his things, running errands, basically doing anything to avoid going home because he knows that his wife is having an affair.
Right.
So it's just like a book full of complete underlining irony throughout the entire thing, but each chapter having their own writing style, and like overall there's one writing style that sort of sticks throughout, which is called stream of consciousness, which is basically writing how a person thinks, which can be incomprehensible at times because we don't like have structured sentences in our head until we say them, basically.
Yeah.
So that's how we write at times, which you could still, it's still kind of easy to understand as far as us being Irish, because there's a lot of slang and references to places and things that people outside of Ireland would have to research to understand. We have like a head start in the game, I guess, if we read it, so we can we can understand a lot of things in the book like immediately.
Was it the is she up the pole or something like that?
There's up the pole, which basically means someone's pregnant. Well, a woman, obviously.
Male can't get pregnant in this universe.
But yeah, that's a bit of slang in the book that was used. And I can't say too much about this book because I'm not finished the book yet. But I'm really enjoying it. I've never had like a book go on my list that I'm still currently reading, because it could just be like one whole chapter that ruins a book.
Yeah.
So like... Yeah, but I'm enjoying it a lot so far. It's known as one of the most difficult books to read, although not his most difficult. There's another one, which is Finnegan's Wake, which I'm not going to talk about because nobody understands it and nobody ever will.
Okay, yeah.
And that's my books.
That's Aaron's
is
top
anyone,
5 books of the
anyone
week.
intrigued by my books?
Any
of them?
1984.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've read A Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I don't want 1,200 pages.
Really?
When you read,
it's hard enough to make breakfast. Like,
the more you read, I find that the quicker you'll get through bigger books. Like you'll be.
Oh, you just can't read good enough.
The Hobbit let you down.
The Hobbit. I read that.
I've never read those books.
The Lord of the Rings books.
They're fine. It's one book, isn't it?
It's one book technically. But it's just split into 3 volumes. But like technically, it was written as one book.
J. Richard Roger Tolkien, you.
Yeah, those books are fine. The Hobbit is. You could see like that it's tailored more so. Like technically, they're all kids' books somehow, but like you could see the Hobbit is much more tailored towards kids.
And that was written before Lord of the Rings.
Yes, it was. He did that. It was written in that order, like. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not a terrible book, The Hobbit, but like. Oof, it's hard to.
It's no like
the journey is. It's a long journey.
Like Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat movie novelization.
Yeah,
it's no Final Crisis.
Yeah.
Oh, Final Crisis.
There's over monitors and there's the regular monitors.
Underminer.
There's.
So okay, what's your last
one?
game?
Here we go, lads. What do you think it is?
Yeah, let's guess actually.
Okay,
a game. I'm thinking it's like.
Peggle 2.
Peggle 2.
It has a 2.
It's a sequel, okay.
Yeah.
So a sequel to a game.
Over the Hedge 2.
No, there was no Over the
Don't
Hedge.
hedge your bets.
It was Over the Hedge of the game, though.
Well,
oh my god, you ever played the gerbil game? What's it, the G-Force?
G-Force.
Good game.
Is your game
is it movie based?
Nope.
No.
A movie tie-in game. Amazing Spider-Man 2.
You Spider-Man 2?
It's... Nah.
No,
Piece of Time.
It's definitely that Spider-Man 2. I had a game there, but I can't remember what I was going to say now. Yeah, I don't know.
FIFA 98. No. It's Assassin's Creed
2.
The best Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, actually, well...
Hold on now. Listen. I haven't played Origins yet. I can't weigh in on that. The Egyptian one. Get around to it. But I played all the Assassin's Creed. I've 100%ed every Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm.
Including the DS version of the first one.
Jesus Christ. I forgot that was a thing.
I love Assassin's Creed. And I like 2.
I like it as well.
I just think, I don't know, I guess it's similar to New Vegas in the sense the first game had a lot of good ideas, but it was clunky.
It was
you couldn't swim. And they worked on it and they made it. They actually, they canonized. They actually, because Assassin's Creed is set in the Animus. It's like a virtual reality.
Right, yeah.
in Assassin's Creed 2, it's like, oh, that was a bug in the Animus. That's why you couldn't swim in the first game. It was a bug, and they had to patch it out. Like.
Oh,
that's
right.
clever, isn't it?
Yeah, that's very
It's clever. But I just think I love the lore of Assassin's Creed. Like, the universe is like, there's these things called sages, and every big figure throughout history is a sage. So, like, Jesus was a sage, Alexander the Great, and it's basically that there's the ancestors, which is basically like the race that created humans. We have like 0.0000001% of their DNA, but sages have like 10% their DNA. That's why these figures are so powerful, like Jesus, Alexander the Great, and stuff. Like they're like sages that it's just lucky if you become one of them.
Right.
So like religion doesn't really exist. Well, they give logic to religion in the sense of like, well, this is why he can do all this, and they have these artifacts of Eden, which were basically like the gods' artifacts that they had. So like Alexander, the sword and the stone, like what's that? Like, that was like an artifact of Eden. The shroud of Jesus that he wiped his blood. That's like the shroud of Eden. Oh, any basically powerful artifacts that you can think of through history, like Jason the shield Medusa, or like the golden fleece. Yeah. Or like other things. I'm trying to think of one. Come on, you can think of one. You're losing them now. I'm trying to think of like ancient mythological kind of artifacts. Basically, well, their explanation to them is that it was like the ancestors' stuff. Anyway, that's the lore. It's a very interesting lore. I think Osama bin Laden is actually a sage in the Assassin's Creed universe.
What?
I think so.
Wow. Didn't do too great for himself, did he?
But this game really starts to set up that lore a lot more. So like it's not as much as future games, but it plants the seeds of it. And I think that's the most interesting thing actually about Assassin's Creed. It's not the game.
Right.
It's the lore is interesting, but the game is cool as well.
As someone who hasn't played much of it, I've played a couple of the games, but never like to completion or anything. You said it sets up a lot more than the first one. Is it a smooth transition from like maybe just a game that was originally time displaced or time traveling kind of assassin game, to like all this great mythology and stuff? Like, was it a smooth transition, or did it feel like they changed direction to make it bigger?
No, I think the ending of the first game. So you haven't the ending. Yeah, if you got like halfway through and you might go to 2 and then it's like, wait, how did this get? No, but the ending of the first game does plant seeds for like, there's a bigger picture here.
Okay.
Because they have, but there's eagle vision, which is like, if you're like one of the assassins, I mean, it's not really explained how they have eagle vision. I guess it's just if you have more concentration of the ancestor DNA, which is almost like, it's eagle vision. It's a superpower, basically. You can see the world in stuff that, but like if you use that, you can see like symbols that the ancestors left to try help communicate with you, and that kind of is there. There's something here, but yeah, there's no time travel. You might think it's.
Well, sorry, I mean, your character kind of goes back into the mind,
into your ancestors' DNA. Somehow they can use a machine to tap into your family lineage. But later games they got rid of that, and you can just tap into any person's lineage you want, which is not cool. That's the cool story about this. What it is right. Let's break down Assassin's Creed. I'm not going to go too well. Assassin's Creed is basically Abstergo. It's just ran by Templars, which are basically an ancient organization that want to gather all the artifacts of Eden and just rule the world. But they don't know where they are. So they build a machine so that they could tap into people's DNA and basically watch it like a movie and see like where they went. And if they know...
So this is in the modern day, is it?
Yeah, so it's basically in the modern day, the whole point of the Animus is to set up that so they can watch people's memories basically as a movie and see, like, say Jesus hid like an item of Eden somewhere. They're okay, let's watch Jesus' memories and we'll see where he put it and we'll go there and get it.
Right.
But and that's basically they saw at the start, we're just going to figure out like important historical figures, track down their ancestors, kidnap them and force them to do this, but that was incredibly slow. So what they do is, which is genius, they market the Animus as like a VR experience and sell it. So basically they have everyone in the world playing this at once. So they basically have everyone trial testing it, and then but they don't know. So you might not know your ancestors is important. And so if they can see that, in America, in Chicago, one guy is watching footage of his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather where he put a random artifact of Eden, and they can try, and they're like, so that's where that is. So they're marketing it and they're just getting the world to play test and find where all these artifacts are for them.
That sounds a lot easier, yeah.
And that's the plot. So, but basically, the assassins steal the animus technology, and they want to go back in time, watch the memories first, so they can get to the artifacts first to stop
Yeah.
the
World
bad guys.
domination.
That's basically the whole plot. Is it's just two orders from history fighting over each other. Assassin's Creed 2 set all that up. It's a good game. I thought I thought he was actually, first time I played it, I didn't know how the parkour worked. I thought he was Spider-Man because he can climb on everything. I was like, how is he doing this?
You can, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Okay.
Very good. There's a lot of feathers in that as well.
Oh yeah.
Too many feathers. The collectibles are just fuck off.
Okay.
400 feathers or something. It's ridiculous. There's no way to find them.
It's almost as bad as having to chase pigeons around New York for a homeless guy.
This guy wants me to play Spider-Man. Okay.
Right, so that's the end of our lists.
Good.
It is.
We shouldn't go too long for this next segment, but Superman may not have an actor anymore.
I thought that was confirmed that he stepped down. It's
Everything was reportedly. His agent said he wasn't out necessarily, but he didn't also say no, he's definitely not out. But then Henry Cavill put up this weird
Oh yeah,
video.
on Instagram.
like.
What do you
raising
well, I
up
know
a
he's
figure.
well, I kind of think it means he is out. That's what I would take from that he's slagging it now.
Yeah, I don't know, but he's out possibly. Ben Affleck is in rehab.
Yeah.
Which,
so-
in all fairness, I know we joke around and all that, but good on you for getting help, you know? Like,
yeah.
I'd rather you go and get help and, you know, kind of patch your life up than play my Batman, you know? Like, Batman can come and go.
Sad smoking Batman.
Any Batman, really. So, basically, assuming they're both gone, that they're both out now, which just leaves us basically with Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, and Gal Gadot.
Don't forget Miles Dyson, who plays Cyborg's father.
Right.
What don't know his name.
I'm okay.
J.K. Simmons still knocking around?
Yeah. Well, it depends, because if they're going to have to recast and reboot, who knows what's going to happen there. I would say Bryan Cranston for Jim Gordon.
Yeah, that's a great
As
idea.
long as
He voiced him in Year One, in the animated movie of that. Anyways, so if they are going to recast both of those roles, we're basically just going to go through each of us recasting Batman and Superman.
Okay.
So I'm going to let Aaron start this one.
Okay, well, we'll start with my Superman because I've already thought about that one, which
hasn't thought about Batman whatsoever.
I've tried to, but okay, Superman, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
America's male sweetheart to be America's greatest hero.
Right.
I don't know, that was my logic behind it.
Okay. So this is maybe like a Kingdom Come era Superman where he's old, but he's like just the most lovable man on earth.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
Tom Hanks. Okay. So
No.
maybe not Kingdom Come because he's really depressing in that. Yeah, okay. Tom Hanks. And who's your Batman?
My Batman, that was it. I've been trying to decide on this
Name
one.
out of a hat. Just
Name out of a hat.
You
Just
can come,
anyone.
You can come back to him if you want.
Okay.
Mike Myers.
Mike Myers as Batman, doing like a Wayne's World impression,
Yeah, okay, perfect.
or Shrek.
Get out of my swamp!
No, not a Shrek impression, just Shrek as Batman.
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
So,
So,
but-
not Mike Myers as Shrek, it's Shrek.
Shrek.
Right, okay.
Mike Myers as Shrek as Batman.
Willem Dafoe as Mike Myers as Shrek as Batman. It's just a shade.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Perfect casting. Flawless. Okay, now obviously I don't think, neither of those is going to happen. Tom Hanks though as Superman for an animated movie?
Possibly.
I think that would be lovely. Like, they're doing...
He still has to do an aged Superman though.
Yeah, well, maybe not. But because they're doing that animated Spider-Man movie this year, Into the Spider-Verse, and that's like a cinematic release with a lot of money behind it and everything. So that could revive, animated superhero movies.
And don't forget Teen Titan, go.
Yeah.
Teen, huh?
Can we though?
It's cool.
Yeah.
Teen Titans Go is cool.
It's no Mask of the Phantasm, but
It's no... there was an animated 90s Spider-Man movie. But I think it was just 2
there?
episodes put together.
oh, okay. Yeah, that
I
wasn't like a cinematic
I didn't know any
release.
better. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Tom Hanks as Superman. I actually really like that.
I didn't think anyone would like that idea.
Not live action, but animated. Oh,
I think
Yes.
of live action.
Well,
and he
she's
still has,
creaming
like,
his jeans over here. Like,
the huge. I don't know
Right.
why.
with a big T instead of an S.
Nicolas Cage. Anyway,
Likes his life of boxer Krypton. That's me.
yeah,
Here,
Cool.
okay, I'll make
For
it.
my Batman,
right.
for some reason, I just think if we do a Thomas Wayne Batman
Okay.
and
Okay.
cast John Goodman, for some reason, I
Okay.
can't get this. Because if you watch the Cloverfield Paradox,
No.
Cloverfield Lane,
Yes.
10 Cloverfield Lane, John Goodman plays such an intense, like, it's hard to explain. I mean, he'd have to maybe slim down a bit, John. You know what I mean, John? But my brief exposure to Thomas Wayne is just he doesn't really care. Like,
Right.
he's obviously he kills and
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
That's the Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Which
This
is-
guy.
That's a great.
That is a great
I just
story.
read that recently, and I
Yeah.
would love to see that as a movie.
I actually think John Goodman. He's too small though. John, typical fat
So,
lad.
so you're saying Jeffrey Dean Morgan is out as Thomas Wayne?
Oh, I would
I
love
don't
him
want-
to be Thomas
I would
Wayne.
love him to be Thomas Wayne. Well, he is already in Batman v
what about
Superman.
from the front? It could be Jeffrey D. Morgan, but from the back, it's John Goodman.
Right.
Right, but no,
Right.
and I don't mean two separate shots. I mean put John Goodman in the back of the suit. And
You could clearly see like two hands sticking out. Like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can
He mans the cape.
I'm feeling. I realize how flawed this was now, but I
Right.
just think if you watch 10 Cloverfield Lane, you'll see how good Goodman can be. Like,
He can
Not-
be a good man.
not just like am I the only one who gives a fuck about the rules around here?
Right.
But he's good.
He was also in those 90s Flintstones movies.
With
Oh yes, he was.
with Alec Baldwin, is it?
I don't know.
Steve Baldwin
Maybe.
and the girl
Who voiced Batman, I think, at one point? Or
and
something?
the girl that Trump slags. The larger woman. What's her name?
Oh, I don't know.
Paula Dean, I
Okay.
think it is. I could be wrong.
Okay.
And my Superman
Right.
is going to be Zach Braff. Because I think it could work.
I'm no Superman.
I'm
except
no
now he
Super-
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only does he look like Smallville guy, can't remember his name.
Tom Welling.
Yeah, but I just think, Superman's always chiseled from stone.
Right.
Why don't we just put Superman? He's a goofy guy. He
There's
narrates.
America's greatest,
Like,
greatest American hero.
Bring some of the Scrubs tropes over where, like, the narration is there.
the
like, just-
flashbacks.
yeah, and,
or
like,
the cutaways or whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
he'd have to put on a bit of weight. I just think he looks. I think he's a better Clark Kent than a Superman.
Right.
So what if with Zach Braff play the Clark Kent and John Goodman play the Superman?
John Goodman, man in the cape again.
Right.
Yeah.
But like,
John Goodman for Lois Lane.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's my picks.
Oh, Superman.
Am I the only one who gives a fuck about Krypton around here?
Okay, well that's flawless casting as well.
Right.
John Goodman.
He's going to
is
have
everyone.
serious ones now.
Well, okay, I have one serious one. And
Carl Urban over there. Look at him.
that's exactly. You're dead on. Batman, my Batman, is going to be Carl Urban. Obviously, I know Carl Urban isn't. He's not maybe the young Batman that they probably want to go with after an older Batman.
Right.
Because, like, I think a lot of the problems they've had with Affleck anyway is he's in his 50s now, I think. Like, late 40s or early 50s. And
Okay.
he's getting really tired of having to work out. He doesn't.
Carl Urban is in his 50s.
No, I'm talking about Ben Affleck. Like,
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right, late 40s, probably. But he's getting real tired of having to work out. And you got to be really, like, in shape for Batman. So I know...
John Goodman's out of the question?
Probably. So I know they're probably going to want to cast younger. But I just think Carl Urban, I think he's perfect for Batman. If you've seen Dredd,
Uh-huh. That's good.
yeah, it's basically
It's
Batman
okay.
who kills.
It's okay.
It's better than the original Dread.
It's better than the original, but
I
like,
am.
Your disease known to cure.
Yeah,
I don't think that's Cobra. I think. There we go.
I don't know. But in any case, I think he can pull off definitely the intensity of Batman. But I think he could bring this interesting feature to Bruce Wayne where he could be charming, but at the same time there's just still this unnerving aspect to Karl Urban trying to be charming. There's just something about him that's a bit scary, like in his eyes or in his smile or something. I don't know.
He's got a
Karl
good
Urban-
chin.
this is definitely your
Yeah.
The
personal
cowl works
opinion.
for him.
Yes.
I think he's good chin. Yeah.
I still think he could do a good Batman. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my Batman. I genuinely Warner Brothers.
Are we going to vote like which we should pick out of the three Batman? So it's John Goodman, Karl Urban, or
Shrek.
and then for my Superman, and this one, I mean, it's semi-serious.
Go on.
It's okay. So Brandon Routh played him in Superman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, the movie is garbage, right? If you haven't seen Superman Returns,
The plane scene is good.
he returns. Yeah, there are some good scenes. The movie is let down by the fact
Kevin
that
Spacey.
no, he's good. I think he was good as
Kevin's-
Lex Luthor.
Kevin Spacey's not good.
No, he's very bad. He's a very bad man. But so is Lex Luthor, and
Yes.
he plays a very good Lex Luthor.
He's good at pretending to be a bad person on the inside.
It's almost like he is.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, but there was a lot of problems with that movie. There's no real fight scenes and stuff, which kind of lets it down. He just lifts an island into space and then finds out he has a son.
Superman has a son?
Yeah, the little kid,
I can't remember. I've
Lois
seen it once in
Lane's
cinema.
child. That's Superman's.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, so Brandon Routh, though, I didn't think there was anything wrong with him. I think the suit let him down a bit because the suit was weird.
He's the most physically small-looking Superman there's been.
And again, that's the suit, because if you see him working out for that, he was in as good a shape as Chris Reeves, better even.
Not Cavill. Cavill's
No.
he's a machine.
Cavill is a machine.
Yeah,
But-
okay.
But even Brandon Routh, if you see him on Legends of Tomorrow, which don't bother because it's not a great show, but he's even bigger now. Like, he's gotten more kind of buff and stuff. So I would say bring Brandon Routh back as Superman, but in an effort to really kind of bring in that classic element, use CGI to make him look like Chris Reeve. Because his performance was perfect,
Okay.
but Chris Reeves is just the ultimate Superman. And I think with a little bit of CGI tweaking,
You lost me there.
I had doubts of Brandon
Yeah.
Routh. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm
You
not
can't-
at that.
A
But the
full
last
movie, Chris
Yeah.
Reeves. Like,
yeah,
I'm
you're having Tarkanification for a full movie.
okay.
okay. Well, Brandon Routh then on his own.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll
I
take
can
that.
picture him really shiny and like he falls off a horse in the movie and like gets crippled or
Oh
something.
no, Cormac.
Oh, Cormac, come on.
See, I had a joke I was gonna go for. My joke version was gonna be they just bring Chris Reeves back.
His corpse.
Yeah, well, he's flying half the time anyways. String him up from some wire. We've gone to a dark
They
place.
can't.
Yes, we've gone.
Okay,
Fans would not want that.
Brandon Routh then.
They would not. Would you? You, Chris Reeve, you be, I'm all for it. I think you're in the minority there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon Routh then on
Okay.
his own.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Backtracking. Okay, so
What about Kevin Spacey as Superman?
No.
honestly, if it weren't for everything that happened like last year and that, I would have brought him back as Lex Luthor.
Better than Hackman?
No, not better than Hackman. More serious than Hackman. And definitely better than bloody Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay.
Can we just, even if we don't lose Henry Cavill as Superman, can we just forget that Lex Luthor ever happened?
We're probably gonna have to now.
Ooh, it's Cherry.
Oh, Granny's peach tea.
Oh yeah, he peed
What
in
does
a
he
jar.
do in Deathstroke? I
Oh
still
yeah,
don't understand.
Deathstroke on a boat.
The Justice League post-credit scene, like your equivalent as Avengers, we're going to tease Thanos. We're going to tease Deathstroke.
Deathstroke and bloody
Like a B Batman villain.
terrible Lex Luthor.
You should have teased Darkseid.
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
And who's bigger?
The Anti-Monitor. I don't think the world is ready for the Well, okay, no, that's not true. I think if they did something like that on that level with the Marvel movies, people would be like, yeah, okay. But I think we've gotten to a point with DC where it's just woof.
This is
It
what.
is.
Just reboot it. Keep Gal Gadot. She deserves it.
She deserves good movie
Nice
roles.
girl.
She's a great Wonder Woman.
Funny.
Very funny.
Was she in fancies her? That's not
All he
really-
fancies. Hope that picked up. Very good.
Okay.
We're finished. We've nothing to add.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Nothing to add to this world.
So what's the one takeaway from this podcast?
Shrek's a great Batman.
Shrek's a great Batman. John Goodman is great at playing back halves of characters
And his cape.
and capes.
And Carol Urban played Superman.
Right.
And Gene Hackman
Playing
CGI back
Batman.
in as Batman with Christopher Reeve's dog on top.
I don't think you get Reeve's family on board at all with that. They wouldn't.
No, yeah, that was actually, in retrospect, that was a poor decision on my part.
Okay. Let's get
Yeah.
Chris Reeve's son. He looks like him.
Does he have a son?
He does now.
Okay, there you go.
You okay there? You're holding in something there.
No, it's not. No. It looks like Audacity crashed. It didn't. Trust me.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. No, it's done this a few times.
We record this on the greatest software known to man. Free Audacity
You
software.
can actually see what I fixed. Anyway, wrap it up. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We're not going to plug anything yet because we've nothing worth plugging.
buy Red Faction Gorilla and make I don't know who owns the rights anymore. I think Ukes did, but they're gone. But make whoever owns the rights to it make a sequel. Thank you.
Right, and also buy Chrononauts.
Yeah.
And tell Grant Morrison I love him.
And that's it.
Do you have anything to shill? Buy Stanley Kubrick.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
dear.
you. Bye.
Bye.